Boom. Hi. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right.
Hello.
You ready to go, brother? Let's have some fun.
All right.
It is the Morning Disaster here on XRock 105. My name is Cody Kopp, and once again, everybody, we want to welcome you all to Hashtag Stage Left, presented by our friends at Rocky Mountain High. Joining me up in studio, some new blood to the studio. I haven't had this guy in yet. Mr. Ruben Baca, what's up, man?
Oh, just hanging out, brother. Thanks for having me.
Dude, my pleasure. Thank you for coming in this morning. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you were supposed to have a little band with you today.
Yeah. It didn't quite work out the way that I wanted to, but hopefully no one will feel us the...
Well, let's hope that maybe after they hear this or watch this today, that they're going to kind of go, we probably should have woke up early today for that. Probably should have woke up for that. No, but I'm excited to have you in here because you are the driving force behind the band because you call it the Ruben Baca Band, right?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's a duo, sometimes it's a trio, but there's always me.
It's always you, at least, right?
Yeah.
Sitting up there. So I got to ask, where are you originally from? How'd you find yourself down here?
Well, I was born and raised in Amarillo, Texas, and then I moved to Hobbs whenever I was about 18 years old, lived there for the last 7 years, and then I moved out to Durango with a friend on a fly on a whim, and I've been here for about 3 months and completely love it. Love the scenery and everything.
Has it really only been 3 months?
I think it's like the end of June.
Dude,
like
yeah, that would have been right, because that would have been right about the time when I met you at XRock Fest, right?
Yeah, I had probably been here maybe 3 weeks whenever that happened.
Yeah, that was such a crazy show because it was like we were literally hanging out at the bar, and this guy comes walking up to me. He was just like, "Thanks for everything that you do with the music and stuff." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're welcome." And I was like, "What's your name, Ruben?" And I'm like, "Do you play?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, let's get you in." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm really excited to have you in here because I've had a chance to check out some of your stuff, and I would kind of describe you as maybe a folk blues. But how would you describe yourself?
Well, it really depends whether or not I have a band, but yeah, I would definitely say folk blues. Maybe it's like some light rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little light rock in there, but you're a fan of all genres, clearly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I play in a death metal band called Captation of a New Day. I play bass, and then I've played classical music with a few quintets and cello and all kinds of stuff. And I love strings. That's just what I do.
So you do a lot more than just play guitar and harmonica, then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
See, I didn't know you played in a metal band too. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're supposed to be going on tour right after Christmas.
So how do you find that being the musician that you are, and then playing in another band that's so different from what you do? Like, do you find that difficult to transition between the two acts, or does it go pretty seamlessly?
If I didn't have the background in classical music, absolutely. But if you kind of listen to like really classical music, especially soloists, some of their solos and a lot of their rhythm pieces are really intricate, and it's just like, wow, this is like Cannibal Corpse gone acoustic. It's crazy.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
This is why Metallica went and got all classically trained, and when they did that, I swear they got a little better. And so again, you would concur with that classical music kind of feeds both genres, then.
Absolutely, and it's really demanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not like a riff where it repeats like 8 times and stuff like that. It'll go through several different themes and come back in a motif, especially in a quintet or something like that. It's awesome.
Dude, that is really cool. And see, this is why I love about this feature Stage Left, is that we kind of get to pick the brains of the musicians around here and really see what it's like to play in this market, because as you know by now, I'm sure, there are so many guys that play in multiple bands.
Oh yeah.
And they might be completely different genres from one another, but yet you would never be able to know. Like, one day he's got a Morbid Justice t-shirt on, and then the next day he's wearing a Red Eye Gin shirt, and you're like, what? How did that So how does that work? And again, I think it's just because music in this part of the world is so awesome, and people just love it around here. Have you discovered that being 3 months deep into this market? What do you think so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Where I was from, Hobbs and Amarillo, they didn't have really open mic nights, twice a week or something like that. But there's like 3 or 4 in town weekly, and it's wow. There's a lot to do if you're an artist or if you're cultural or anything like that. There's a lot of places to plug yourself in and to be noticed and recognized and to contribute.
And people actually pay you to play here too, which is nice. When the check actually cashes, but no, I'm playing. So now, again, I just think that this is super tremendous to bring you up in here. So let's talk about that harmonica. So you said you're a fan of strings. So how does one get a harmonica strapped around your neck? Like, when did that come in?
Well, whenever I started playing guitar, I really wanted to do like doom stuff, right? I really love Tony Iommi and Witch and stuff like that, Electric Wizard. But then, I started listening to Bob Dylan a whole lot, and started playing acoustic guitar.
Sure.
And then I was like, man, that's really cool. I can add more depth to my sound and kind of use that as the lead where I'm playing rhythm guitar, because I'm I'm not a shredder. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I have a background in music and stuff like that, sure, and I can understand arrangements and stuff, but I've never been, I'm going to play 220 BPM the whole time. No, it's all about the song, it's about the music, it's about fitting in where you can and making the song come together.
Sure. So now, do you find it difficult to sing and play the harmonica at the same time, or do you just kind of flip that thing down really quick? Or
No, I keep it up and then I just kind of sing over my harmonica.
I'll go over the top of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, gosh, I've always been really fascinated by guys that can do that because, like, you got multiple instruments strapped to you, and yet somehow, some way, you're able to make it seamlessly move between all of these things, and you would never even know. You would swear it was recorded. So I'm assuming this just comes with practice, right?
Yeah, it's like second nature right now. I have to be doing something, and essentially talking and breathing through my harmonica is just as easy as talking right now.
Does it ever like baffle or pull your roommates away when you're in there playing your harmonica? I mentioned that probably. They're like, can you keep it down?
Usually I try and be pretty respectful and stuff, and also play and practice in solitude. Like I have to be in a small space to be creative.
Well, I hope this space is adequate for you in here.
I think it's just big enough and just small enough.
Just big enough, just small enough. Yeah. It's always funny when bands come up in here. They're always like, so wait, what do you mean we can't set up a whole drum kit? I'm like, have you ever been to a radio station before, bud? So believe it or not, this is kind of a good sized room, but yeah, I can't put a 10-piece band in here. I'm sorry. Especially with all your gear, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So gosh, now I lost my train of thought what I was going to ask you next because what's coming up in the future for you? Because I mean, obviously you're fresh to this market. So what are your plans like in the long haul going through the rest of 2019 and into 2020?
Well, musically, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to work on an EP, and I'll be playing a couple songs today from that. And they deal more with social political issues or things that involve the human experience. As an artist, we are necessary in culture and have been around in every civilization since the beginning of time.
Sure.
We solve problems much like masons or carpenters, but our problems that we solve are existential. Any kind of problem that people run in with emotionally, spiritually, they can kind of turn to music and be like, that's kind of the thing, so that's what I want my kind of debut to be. But as far as the market goes, I'm kind of going to pull out just a little bit of the market. So that way I can be as fresh here as I would be, let's say, Albuquerque or Colorado Springs.
Sure.
So that way I can hit it all at once. And then you don't want to oversaturate your market.
No, you really don't. I mean, I feel like there does come a fine line that you've been in a place for long enough that it might be time to move on and give them a little bit of a break. You come back because then you generate that excitement. You play it every single week or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're tremendous and wonderful, and I love coming and watching you. But, you got 5 shows this week. I'm not going to come to every show. So, but again, not to take away from anybody that works that hard, because again, if you're going to be a musician in this town and that's all you want to do is play music, you're going to have to play a lot. But I think that does, for guys like you who have that luxury, like, I'm going to stay here for a little bit and then move on and go do something else. I think it's really cool. So are you planning on a tour pre-sign or after the EP gets released?
Yeah, so I'll be kind of hanging low. What I really want to do is get more into nature and kind of get my own land, but that's more personal. And then once I get kind of settled and I have a band, maybe some backup people, I'll probably go on a 2-week tour around places I've lived before and stuff like that, which I used to book shows, so I can do it all myself. So it's a luxury of, being your own boss and taking on the kind of responsibility.
Agreed, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm hoping that once that EP comes out that you'll reach back out to me and we can bring you back in here so I can help feature that as well.
Anytime.
And try to get you a couple records sold so you can get gas money. So, so you didn't bring all this stuff to look cool. You want to play us a song?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you're about to play for us?
Okay, so it was about a couple years ago. I had a full folk band at the time, and I just woke up and I heard the news that one of my childhood friends had just passed away. He was engaged to be married and all these kinds of things, and really didn't feel like life was worth living. And then, that was really on my mind for about 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks had passed, and then I heard about another friend, close childhood, and we were all good friends growing up, all artists. I've always been a writer, and I brought a couple of books with me too, which I'll give each of you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited to read those, man.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Man. A couple of them have been published. And I've, done book signings and stuff like that.
Really?
For most, I'm a poet. Yeah. It's so weird. Of course, you see the harmonic and everything, but yeah, I'm a writer. Well,
we're gonna have to get into that in the next break.
To them.
Yeah. So these songs are about them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, this first song is. The second one won't be. But
awesome. Well, here he is, guys. This is Mr. Ruben Baca for the Ruben Baca Band here on Hashtag Stage Left, presented by Rocky Mountain High. So whenever you're ready, brother, go ahead and take it away.
You. princess, waiting to be queen. She's hiding in her silk dress. Some things remain to be seen. Live strong. Sing your songs, your kids, your wife, they love you. Two young men growing up, but not growing old. They lived so fast, they took their lives, they paid the final price. So long farewell, my friends. You meant so well. You took your lives, you stole from us. Your memories fade to rust. Live strong. Sing your songs, your kids, your wife, they love you.
Nice. Yes. Well, there he is, Mr. Ruben Baca here on hashtag Stage Left, again presented by Rocky Mountain High. Ruben, hopefully you got time for another break, man, because I want to pick your brain a little bit more about that book and find a little bit more about your writing style, because that was pretty awesome, man, I got to say.
Hey, thanks, man.
Awesome. So where do we get some more info on you in the meantime? Where do we go to get some more info on you?
Go Ruben Baca Band,
Yeah.
Facebook,
On
Instagram, Twitter. Oh, yeah.
So it's all over the place, or if you go to
Everywhere.
facebook.com/XRock105, you'll find a nice little video that I posted for everybody to check out as well. But more with Ruben Baca here in just a bit on hashtag Stage Left, presented by Rocky Mountain High, the radio station that doesn't suck. Ruben, let her know where we're at, buddy.
XRock 105.3.
Good job. Yes. It is the morning disaster on XRock 105, and welcome once again to hashtag Stage Left, presented by Rocky Mountain High. Joining me up in studio, still got Mr. Ruben Baca from the Ruben Baca Band. What's up, dude?
Hello.
Dude, I thank you again so much for coming in and hanging out with us this morning, man. Because you're relatively new to the market, and I feel like I might be the first guy that's ever got you in the studio around here. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really?
I would say maybe even this year, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think that you got a bright career ahead of you. I'm super excited to see what you do with the rest of it. And in case people missed the last break, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you originally from, and how did you find yourself here in the Four Corners?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Amarillo, Texas for about 18 and a half years. I lived in Colorado Springs shortly before moving to Hobbs, maybe for like 6 months. Then I moved to Hobbs for the last 7 years. I'm 25, by the way, so that's kind of that math there kind of makes sense.
Sure.
It's pretty easy to cut up. And then I moved to Durango pretty much on a whim. You know, the house that I was renting got sold from under me, and I was just like, I had in my head that I was going to be homeless and live in my car again. It would be like the 5th time that I'd done that, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Why not? Let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And so now that you've been out here, you've been here for what? You said like 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, 3 months, yeah.
So now what do you think so far?
I love it. It's
Yeah?
very cultural. I can definitely put my stamp in. People, I think, appreciate what I'm trying to do a lot more. My message is a lot more clear and open. Whereas if I were to talk about, save the environment in, let's say, Hobbs, New Mexico or Amarillo, where the oil industry is quite booming,
yes.
it would be like, no.
You're just eating into my paycheck, buddy. See you later.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Well, again, I think that you'll fit in quite well here in Durango, Colorado. So again, I'm excited to have you in here because you've kind of described yourself as a little bit of a poet and a writer. Now, we kind of started talking a little bit about this. Now, you actually got some books published or something, right?
This is my chapbook, The Map Without Roads. Yeah.
So a Map Without Roads. That's a great name.
Yeah, it's kind of like before people kind of put their own mark and told people what to do and stuff. It's dedicated to the people at the bus stop with their own intentions in mind.
I love that. Yeah. So now, where did the inspiration from the book come, and how does this ultimately translate into what you're doing with music? Like, do you find that writing books and music are the same, or?
Absolutely, they're completely one and the same. I started as a writer like in 4th grade. I started reading C.S. Alder. And his books were really kind of like how we take away from our experiences and how we deal with them with other people and stuff. And Carl Sandburg, the poet, and T.S. Eliot. And as I read that more, I was like, man, language is really cool. Like a geeky 4th grader. I was like,
sure.
Well, I'm gonna get my crack at it. So I've been writing since pretty much that time, since I was about 10 years old. And I always wanted to do stuff that was like meaningful. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everybody loves big rock bands and,
of course,
big party time and stuff like that, or stuff that you can relax to, but touching back on what I said during the last break was that, as an artist, we solve existential problems. People are always, going up to artists like, you made such an impact on my life. Thank you for doing what you did. And those artists are the same way. They solve their own problems by having something that they could turn to away from drugs. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of my writing and music deals with, is like mental illness, drugs, suicide, loss of a loved one, things that, really impact people that they need kind of help with, or to be reassured that we're not alone, because we're not.
No, and I think you really nailed it right on the head there, because, a lot of times people forget that when it comes to self-help, you can write things for yourself. Ink and paper can solve a lot of problems. Yeah. And if you're one of the lucky ones like yourself, for instance, you end up getting published, who knows, you might have affected somebody else's life and saved theirs as well by your writings. Because God knows that this happens a lot in music. You'll hear something that somebody played and you're like, I swear to God, they wrote that song for me.
Yeah.
And then you get up and you get to talk to them like, dude, I wrote that about my ex-girlfriend. Like, I don't even know who you are. You're a guy. It's like, no, you don't even know. Like, that song touched me in a way, or that album touched me in a way that it really pulled me through one of the dark times. And so I think that that's a pretty cool thing. So now, again, when you're writing a book or when you're writing music, like, do you kind of go, you know what, I feel like this was kind of meant for something on paper, but I kind of think that maybe this belongs in a song, or vice versa. Maybe even writing a song, but then, like, you know what, this would almost be better as a short story. Like, does that ever happen in writing? Or do you kind of go into it knowing I'm writing a book?
Yeah, well, I kind of go into it knowing what I want to do and how I want to do it. So I have this song that's kind of about the immigration and the prison system, right? Because, I mean, they're kind of they're not the same, but in a sense, the feeling of being trapped,
Yes.
I think that everyone can kind of relate to that, So,
yes.
And it doesn't directly touch on those things, but I always wanted to do that. And then I had a piece of music that I kind of liked, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put this piece to that music, and that's going to be that song. Or I'll have a line in a poem that'll just pop into my head, and I'll think, you know what, I'm going to expand on that, and that's going to become a poem, and that's it.
And that's it. That's interesting because, again, I feel like a lot of times when you got writers on your hands, like they kind of go like that. They go in with that idea that this is going to be for a poem. This is going to be for a song. This is going to be for a book. But I don't know. I guess maybe that must be my amateur self that comes sometimes that I would write something and go, I was trying to write something clever here, but it's almost got a beat to it. You can almost have your toe. So, but again, I think that's really awesome that you're doing this, and that watch you evolve and watch you do your thing, because now that you're 3 months deep, you're going to start recording some stuff, and then we might actually start to see you on the streets of here of Durango pretty soon, right?
Yeah, definitely. What I want to do is play, a lot more open mic nights, do some covers and stuff like that. I do, of course. Everyone should.
Sure.
Learn your favorite song. That's been one of my staples. And
you're at a bar, like they expect that. Yeah.
People get kind of thrown away by that. What if your favorite song is something by Periphery or Tosin Abasi? And it's like, well, then get good. No, but
right.
You should know how to play your favorite songs, sing your favorite songs. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Everyone's an artist. Everyone can draw. Not very well, but I mean, hey, that's the human experience.
That's it, man. I like that. That's a pretty cool thing. So now, are you in the writing process right now then?
Or do we have an album coming out anytime soon? Like,
it really just has to get recorded. So as a multi-instrumentalist, you know, I do keys, I also do piano and stuff like that, and I know how they all should sound.
Yeah.
It's just really getting like a band up to speed, so that way the recording process is a little bit more smooth. But all the songs are well written. I mean, I probably have 2 albums worth of material that I'm just kind of sitting on, that I don't ever want to have one album be really good and the other one that follow up be, yeah, you know, the sophomore album slump is a real deal in the music industry.
That is so true, man. Sometimes the second album just sucks. You know, like the first album was great, second album's terrible, and then by the time the third one comes out, you've lost so much interest. You know, it's hard to come back to them. Now that you have found successes in that second album, and generally if that second album succeeds, you got a career on your hands. So I think there's something to be said about that, dude. So congratulations on what you're doing. I'm excited to have you up in here. And like I said, once that EP gets released, you need to reach back out to me so that I can get you back in here and we can promote that and, you know, get you some gigs and stuff like that. Cause I know some friends that would love to have you play on their stage.
Woo.
So,
that sounds good.
So with all this being said, you want to play us a song? We'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, so this one is called Lucid. I was kind of on my own in my teenage years because I wasn't exactly the best kiddo, which is totally fine. But the girlfriend that I had at the time was kind of really infatuated with the lifestyle I was living and stuff like that, and she was an amazing artist. So the first half of this song talks about her and her mental illness and sticking up for those kinds of people that really can't defend themselves, or that don't really understand like the social norms and the stigmas that go along with that, you know, because as normal people, I mean, no one's really normal. We're all weirdos here.
Welcome to Durango.
There's that kind of stigma where it's like, you know, you're not normal and everything else, you know, but she used that as a way to propel herself creatively, you know, and then whenever she had gotten into a bit of trouble at the end of our relationship and she was released from juvenile detention, she just completely stopped creating. And the last half of the song is talking about fighting a fight that all artists face in expressing yourself and creating. Because as an artist, whenever you stop creating, you feel like you're kind of letting yourself down or letting other people down and stuff. And then you have to constantly push for it, you know, just relax, take a deep breath, drink some water and take a nap. You know what I mean? It'll come to you.
It will, absolutely.
Just be cool.
Just be cool. Well, here he is, Mr. Ruben Baca on #StageLeft. Whenever you're ready, my friend, go ahead.
Thanks, bud. I see them too, laughing at you. I know the names, they'll be screaming, and I hear them too, calling for you. I know the names, they're not leaving. I know you're going to go away. I know there's nothing I can say to make you wanna stay. I'll see you someday, and I'll wait around, kicking the ground of our hometown. It's gotten so run down. You wait around the whole night, right until the morning light. The birds are singing. You wait around your whole life, right? You're done fighting the fight. The birds are singing.
Nice. Well, there he is, Mr. Ruben Baca on hashtag Stage Left. Dude, Ruben, thank you so much for coming in this morning, man. So where do we find more info on you?
Ruben Baca Band on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then I have Necro Productions, which is my production company where I put on shows. That's how I published my chapbook. And that's where you can see everything that I've really ever done.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for your time this morning. Thanks to everybody for tuning in to hashtag Stage Left. That's going to wrap up the Morning Disaster. My name's Cody Kopp. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll check you out tomorrow on the radio station Doesn't Suck. Let them know, Ruben. Where are we at, buddy?
We are at XRock 105.3.
Nice work.